Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we're diving into the intricacies of modern communication with the groundbreaking book Because Internet by Gretchen McCulloch. This insightful read delves into the considerable impact that the digital age has had on the English language. From the transformation of grammatical norms to the rise of emoticons and memes, McCulloch's analysis explores the linguistics of internet culture and how it remixes historical rules while democratizing the act of writing itself. Gretchen McCulloch is an esteemed author, journalist, and linguist with a passion for digital culture and online language. Her expertise, showcased in her role as the resident linguist for Wired magazine and her engaging blog All Things Linguistic, makes her uniquely qualified to decode the language of the web. Because Internet is an essential read for a variety of audiences. If you're a language enthusiast intrigued by the evolution of English, a stickler for grammar curious about the flexibility of language, or a parent trying to decipher your child's text messages, this book will illuminate the complex and ever-changing landscape of Internet communication. Join us as we summarize the key insights from McCulloch's debut book, examining how the Internet isn't just changing the way we communicate, but the very essence of our language itself. Because Internet, Understanding the New Rules of Language. Introduction. Dive into the digital age, how the Internet revolutionized language. Imagine the English language as a historic house, with generations of residents who each leave their unique marks and upgrades. Over time, the abode morphs, taking on new shapes and styles as society evolves. Similarly, language is ever-changing, constantly adapting and reforming under the skilled hands of its users. Yet, even as the English of Shakespeare feels somewhat familiar, the Middle English of Chaucer is akin to a foreign tongue to modern ears. These shifts in language are expected to take centuries. However, with the advent of the Internet, we are witnessing a linguistic renovation of unprecedented speed. The widespread adoption of the Internet has paved way for a new linguistic landscape, transforming how we communicate. With the click of a mouse or the tap on a screen, we engage with diverse dialects and expressions that breach traditional boundaries of grammar and syntax. The Internet has introduced a form of linguistic democracy where innovative expressions and acronyms become viral overnight, evolving language at warp speed. Prepare to explore the fascinating corners of our digital lexicon, where you'll discover the surprisingly emotive power behind something as simple as a punctuation mark, the origins of LOL and its rise from a niche term to a global expression of mirth or empathy, and the intriguing history of memes, exploring how they predate the very network that now serves as their primary breeding ground. Join us on this adventure through linguistic cyberspace as we unravel the mysteries and quirks that the Internet era has woven into the fabric of the English language. Part 1. Embracing informal writing in the digital world. Think about writing, and your mind might wander to the neatly stacked shelves of libraries or the symphony of printing presses churning out the daily news. Our journey into the realm of words often begins with the classics of literature and the rigor of academic texts, all hallmarks of formal writing. These are the ink and paper guardians of linguistic propriety, where every comma and period is placed with precision. Yet, the Internet has flipped the script on our literary experience. Enter the age of informality, where texts and tweets reign supreme. Gone are the days when the written word was confined to the polished corridors of publishing. The digital revolution ushered in an era of immediacy, a world where writing is a spontaneous act, performed by millions of fingertips dancing across keyboards and touchscreens. Communication, once held captive by the constraints of formalities and the red pens of editors, has broken free. Our daily discourse now lives in the digital ether, where emails replace handwritten letters and text messages supplant phone calls. The pressing need for brevity in our fast-paced world gave rise to a new vernacular. Abbreviations and acronyms populate our conversations, thriving in the newfound democracy of the Internet. These linguistic shortcuts are not merely a matter of convenience. They embody the essence of our Internet age, a period marked by the collective creation and redefinition of language. Unlike the acronyms of yore, like NASA, today's shorthand, BRB, be right back, LOL, laugh out loud, BTW, by the way, and countless others, are invented, evolved, and embraced by the masses. In this digital bazaar of words, the individual has seized control. Each person has a hand in sculpting this evolving dialect, adding their personal touch to the ongoing dialogue that shapes our language. It's a linguistic revolution, where the supremacy of traditional authorities wanes, and the power of the people's keystrokes sets the new lexicon of the day. Part 2. Charting the linguistic landscape of the Internet. Picture yourself embarking on a linguistic journey across America, observing how a simple, carbonated beverage diversifies in synonyms across states. This linguistic patchwork is just a glimpse into the fascinating world that captures the minds of linguists, the ever-shifting tides of human communication. Enter the virtual realm, and you'll find that linguistics has embraced a brave new frontier. The past few decades have seen the rise of Internet linguistics, a field invigorated by the wealth of data available on social media and digital communication platforms. The Internet, a trove of authentic, unfiltered language use, offers researchers an unprecedented kaleidoscope of human expression. Instead of laboring to capture conversations in the real world, linguists can now tap into the dynamic, sprawling corpus of the digital universe. This digital bounty breathes new life into enduring linguistic theories. Consider the concept of networks. People acquire language habits from the networks enveloping them, from family circles to professional clusters. The Internet, however, expands these networks exponentially, layering weak ties over strong ones. The connections we foster online are often with acquaintances or strangers, people who inject new linguistic patterns into our repertoire. Take, for instance, a classic study from 1970s Belfast, where certain young women emerged as pioneers in the pronunciation of car as more like care. These trendsetters, working in an out-of-town store, adopted the pronunciation from a wider network beyond their immediate community. This study underscores the role of strong ties, our intimate relationships, and weak ties, our broader, less personal connections. While the former tend to reinforce linguistic norms, the latter act as conduits for innovation and change. The Internet has amplified the reach and influence of weak ties. The cyber landscape, with its sprawling social networks, forums, and chat rooms, brings us into contact with an array of dialects and idioms. Consider Twitter, a platform that fuels linguistic evolution by encouraging interactions with those outside our immediate social circles. Yet the story of Internet language is not just about platforms, it's also about people. Who are these digital denizens molding the language of the web, and when did they journey into the online world? We will uncover that in the next segment, peeling back the layers of Internet history to reveal the architects of our digital discourse. Part 3. Understanding Internet users through generational lenses. The vast ocean of Internet users is not a homogeneous swarm, but rather clusters of distinctive groups shaped by the era in which they first logged on. These groups offer insightful glimpses into the diverse ways people communicate online, mirroring linguist Salikoko Mufwene's concept of the founder effect, where early adopters leave an indelible mark on the subsequent evolution of language within a community. In the nascent days of cyberspace, a pioneering faction known as the Old Internet People laid down the digital rails. They ventured into this new frontier with confidence, their language peppered with acronyms and emoticons born out of necessity and innovation. Coding skills were their passports, granting them access to ancient gathering grounds like Usenet and Internet Relay Chat. Their ingenuity gifted us with language shortcuts such as FYI, for your information, and expressive emoticons that transformed our text-laden conversations. As the internet spread its wings, the full internet people and semi-internet people stepped onto the scene. These groups represent the wave of users who discovered the magic of the web when it shed its specialist skin and became a cultural phenomenon. The full internet people, often still in their school years, used the web as a social extension, a digital playground to interact with peers through platforms like MSN Messenger. Their discourse was ripe with the vernacular of youth, evolving alongside their real-world dialogues. Alternatively, the semi-internet people, while arriving during the same era, wielded the internet more as a tool than a social nexus. They were the pragmatic users, leaning on the web to streamline their work or to stay abreast of current affairs. Their expertise often lay in mastering specific digital tools, maintaining a utilitarian relationship with the internet that kept them slightly removed from the more conversational corners of the web. Emerging in the wake of these groups were the pre-internet and post-internet people. For those in the post-internet cohort, the digital world is as natural as breathing. They've never known a reality unaccompanied by the whisper of Wi-Fi. Platforms like Facebook and Twitter are their native habitats, places where communication is immediate and omnipresent. Contrastingly, the pre-internet people observed the digital revolution from a distance, only stepping into the fray when the tides of change left them no choice. These latecomers were ushered online by life's demands, engaging with the web reluctantly. Yet, as the billions of keystrokes across the globe push our language in new directions, the pre-internet people, too, find themselves part of a linguistic metamorphosis, compelled by the invisible threads of the web. Part 4. Decoding the typographic quirks of the digital realm. In the eclectic world of internet communication, even the humble period has developed a personality of its own. In a landscape where messages flow back and forth like a live conversation, the decision to end a text with a period can now be interpreted as a subtle display of passive aggressiveness. Picture this: a conversation punctuated with periods that once signaled tidiness in writing now hints at underlying tension. By 2013, this significant shift in punctuation psychology had caught the eye of cultural observers, with major publications commenting on the phenomenon. The transformation of the period is a language evolution in real time, a punctuation renaissance born out of the chat room's informal spontaneity. The internet's typographic wardrobe doesn't stop there. It also includes the expressive all caps, used for emphasis and to mimic the volume of shouting. These capitalized shouts stand in place of vocal cues we depend on in face-to-face conversation: volume, pitch, and pace. Without these auditory guides, we have adapted our typing style to fill the void, ensuring our digital words carry the emotional weight they deserve. Then there's the smiley, the iconic. With an unsuspected depth behind its simple curves, it made its debut as a digital surrogate for a real smile, a way to combat the potential ambiguities of text communication. Today, that smiley has taken on a dual role, both as a marker of humor and as a buffer to soften the blow of potentially abrasive messages. Your friend's playful chide, "You're a terrible person," or a reminder from your boss, "Don't forget to be on time tomorrow," leverages the emoticon's power to convey tone in a medium devoid of vocal cues. Moving on to the multifaceted LOL, a creation credited to the early internet user Wayne Pearson, which blossomed from a marker of laughter to a versatile linguistic tool. No longer just an acronym for laughter, LOL can express amusement, ease awkwardness, or even signal irony, trading its initial chuckle for a more diplomatic role in our digital conversations. The challenge of conveying irony in text is an ancient conundrum, with icons like John Wilkins proposing creative solutions as far back as the 17th century. Fast forward to today, where the tilde sarcasm tilde emerges as a contemporary remedy. Wrapping a phrase with tildes is akin to vocalizing the words with a mocking lilt, a digital representation of our real-world imbued with sarcasm. This typographic trend capitalizes on our intuitive understanding of vocal inflections, cementing the tilde's place in our online lingua franca. Internet speak, thus, is not merely a collection of jargon and shortcuts, but a rich tapestry of nuances, an evolving code that mirrors our instinct to infuse personality into every character and punctuation mark we type. Part 5. Emoji, the visual vocabulary of digital communication. In the digital age, a vibrant lexicon of emoji has surreptitiously woven its way into our daily communications, much to the chagrin of some purists who view these pictorial interlopers with skepticism. Reminiscing about the era of emoticons may leave some clinging to the old keyboard-fashioned. But emoji have transcended mere trends to become cultural staples. Born out of Japan's tech-savvy culture in the 1990s and later embraced by the masses, with the advent of Apple and Android support, emoji rapidly transformed from a niche collection of 608 symbols to an expansive library boasting over 2,800 colorful icons. They serve an essential purpose, compensating for the absence of physical cues in written conversation. Emoji bridge the gap between the written word and the nuance of face-to-face interaction. Imagine emoji as emblem gestures, those physical movements that we use instinctively to express ourselves, such as the ubiquitous thumbs up or a sly wink. These symbols have defined meanings, and just like their real-world counterparts, they've earned their place in our dictionaries. Emoji bring the familiarity of these gestures to our screens, granting us a way to convey a broad range of emotions and reactions beyond the constraints of text. Want to convey playful disapproval or cheer someone on from afar? Reach for the face with tongue, or the raising hands. But the world of emoji isn't limited to conventional gestures. Many emoji act as illustrators, enhancing our messages with vivid imagery. From the birthday cake to the sparkling heart, they add a playful and visual context, animating our texts with a splash of visual storytelling. Despite any resistance, emoji are a testament to humanity's innate adaptability and creative communication. Like any language, they are alive and responsive to our needs, adding vibrancy and expanding the expressive range of our online interactions. Whether they come in the form of a familiar gesture or an illustrative scene, emoji have become an integrated and indispensable component of our digital dialogue, underscoring the visual and dynamic nature of modern interaction. Part 6. The Digital Gathering Ground: How Social Media Became Our New Town Square. In 1989, Ray Oldenburg, a discerning sociologist, lamented the erosion of communal spaces, unhindered by the demands of work and the privacy of home. He christened these crucial habitats of human connectivity as third places, not where you live, not where you work, but where you simply be. These havens were designed to be breeding grounds for camaraderie, casual banter, and the collective heartbeat of the community. Oldenburg might not have imagined URLs and usernames when he conceived the idea of cafes and pubs as the quintessential third places. Yet, in a twist of fate, social media platforms and online communities have carved out their own niches in the heart of society, mirroring the very essence of third places. When we dive into the river of our social media feeds, we find ourselves in a digital plaza, buzzing with familiar faces and newcomers alike. It's a crossroads of lives in progress, an endless stream of milestones and mundane moments colliding in a tapestry of shared experience. These platforms have redefined how we catch up, as we engage in the art of conversation, armed with the backstory of each other's lives, ongoing and updated in real time. For today's youth, the allure of social media's digital campfires surpasses traditional hangouts. Instead of rendezvousing at the local diner or arcade, teenagers migrate to online worlds to chit-chat, share glimpses of their lives, and explore fledgling romances. And in a curious consequence of this digital lifestyle, research shows that modern adolescents are postponing seminal coming-of-age experiences, such as sex and alcohol consumption, perhaps in favor of the virtual social smorgasbord. Oldenburg praised third places for their critical role in stitching together the broad tapestries of relationships that ignite revolutions and foster enlightenment. His examples from history find a parallel in the digital age, where social platforms like Twitter morph into engines of change, turning hashtags into rallying cries, as observed during the Arab Spring. Venture beyond social media, and you'll discover a mosaic of specialized forums and online communities, each a microcosm of passions and pastimes. Reddit stands as a cyber metropolis, offering a home for every hobby and interest under the sun. What begins as a quest for knowledge or entertainment blooms into a nexus of social interaction, where the shared fascination for a topic becomes the backdrop for friendships and solidarity. In the glow of our screens, we find the familiar warmth of Oldenburg's third place, reimagined. It proves that despite the medium, the human yearning for connection endures, crafting new social stages out of pixels and Wi-Fi signals. Part 7, Inside the Internet's Meme Machine, a culture of viral wit. Memes, those tidbits of culture that replicate and mutate with abandon, are not merely children of the Internet age. They reach back into the annals of history, as Richard Dawkins' 1976 conception of memes as cultural equivalents of biological genes demonstrates. He envisioned memes as units of cultural transmission, ideas or practices that spread within a culture, leaning on the same principles of variation and selection that underpin biological evolution. Limor Schiffman, a scholar of Internet culture, points to the World War II era graffiti. Kilroy was here as a prototypal meme, a rudimentary viral symbol that transcended borders and soldiered through social memory. Fast forward to the dawning of the new millennium, and online platforms began to offer users the tools to craft their own digital humor. Memes leaped into the limelight, propelled by sites that merged imagery with user-generated text. The online world became a canvas for witticism, and memes such as lolcats, photos of cats paired with humorously incorrect captions, started to scratch their way into internet folklore. Lolcats introduced a charmingly flawed linguistic style intended to mirror the imagined syntax of a feline wordsmith. Take, for instance, a dapper kitten complete with a bow tie pleading, "I can has prom date." This clever subversion of linguistic norms laid the groundwork for future viral phenomena like Doge, the lovably inarticulate Shiba Inu expressing fragmented thoughts, always tinged with its distinctive syntax errors. With each remix or regional adaptation, memes like Doge embed themselves into the DNA of various subcultures, donning digital disguises to fit every nuanced humor. Even gamers found kinship with Doge, putting him in uniform and crafting a montage to Call of Doge, inserting playful expressions recognizable only to the initiated. This insular humor is the lifeblood of meme culture. By tying in jokes only discernible to those in the know, memes draw a circle around their communities, establishing a barrier of wit that distinguishes insiders from outsiders. It's a digital handshake, a knowing nod that confirms belonging. The digital era has indeed ushered in an accelerating rate of linguistic evolution, where a picture of a cat or a dog can become a dialect unto its own. Memes harness the power of shared laughter and collective recognition, propelling the culture of the Internet forward at a pace that outstrips any jargon or jest of ages past. Through memes, the Internet has become a playground of rapid-fire creativity, constantly rewriting the rules of how we communicate and connect. Final summary. The tapestry of the English language has always been one of continual change, yet the Internet has put that evolution on fast forward. In the digital age, everyday users are rewriting linguistic norms, forming a new chapter in the saga of human communication. Unencumbered by formal constraints, this influx of informal writing creates a global laboratory for language experimentation. Our traditional tools of nuance, gestures, facial expressions, tone, don't translate directly into text, prompting internet users to innovate. Capitals for emphasis, strategic punctuation, lol, and emoticons have become our digital body language, expressing what words alone cannot capture. As we delve into online communication, we draw from a new lexicon complete with emoji that offer visual punch and memes that serve as subcultural shorthand, reinforcing bonds and delineating group identity. From chat rooms to forums, social media platforms have emerged as modern third places, where casual socialization thrives outside of work and home. What Ray Oldenburg envisioned for physical spaces, the internet has recreated in the virtual world, allowing for societal engagement and the exchange of ideas on an unprecedented scale. Memes epitomize this vibrant cultural exchange, acting as inside jokes that define and amuse communities, whether originating from ancient scribbles or a Shiba Inu's comical internal monologue. They illustrate how the internet hasn't merely accelerated linguistic changes, it's forever redefined the way we create and share cultural content. In sum, the internet's impact on language runs deep, introducing fresh idioms, reshaping the way we connect, and creating a living lexicon that reflects the wit, creativity, and adaptive spirit of its global user base. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.